Hey guys, it's your boy Dope Snare. Today we're taking a look at a few things. The Arturia Mini Fuse audio interface, interfaced with the iPad, interfaced with my computer. There's a few ways to set this up. I'll just dive right in. On the screen I have a 909 drum machine. I'll just maybe load it from scratch. This is made by Audio Kit. They also make a free synthesizer, so check that out. This drum machine was like $4, $5, which is a bonus in terms of iPad apps. They're really affordable. Normally be your speaker outputs for your audio interface, since I'm the main outputs of the mini fuse going into the inputs of my Steinberg interface for my computer, and then that eventually comes out the speakers that I have. That's one way to do it. So I will, I can make, say, the drum beat here, and then I'm in Studio One or Reason, and I could sync them either with Ableton Link or with MIDI, and press play and record the results into the computer. I could do that on a single track basis, a group of tracks, one thing at a time, a whole beat at once. There's multiple ways to go about that. So we'll close this drum machine, and we'll make it a synthesizer. Now it's a synthesizer, and this is why I wanted it. To the first place, I knew it could be a synthesizer or a drum machine and multiple things. The mini fuse has some pretty cool features. It has proper MIDI in and out, which I've connected to my Steinberg. So I have MIDI in, MIDI out. I don't know, it works. So like I say, I'm sequencing this synthesizer in Studio One on my computer. It's sending a MIDI signal out of the MIDI cable into the MIDI in of the audio fuse and connected. It's talking to this synthesizer. That's not what's going down in this setup. Just because I'm doing video, I thought I'd make it as simple as possible. There's USB inputs on this audio interface, so that's one of a kind feature. I've never heard of that before. So this audio interface has 4 ins, 4 outs, MIDI in and out, plus 2 USB. I could plug my MIDI keyboard controller straight into the interface, which I thought was great, because I figured, how are you going to hook up all this crap to the iPad, right? So I have a camera connection kit. You can't get around that. I try to get around that because I thought, the mini fuse, I could plug it into the wall. I won't need the power source and blah, 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 blah. I thought I could just go direct to iPad, but no go. Apple knows their stuff. They want you to spend the money on their products. No complaints though. So they also, not only do they want the camera connection kit to hook up your audio interface, they also want the lightning input plugged to a USB or wall, so you're simultaneously charging the iPad. Doesn't matter if your audio interface is powered by the wall. They want power all around. They want full connectivity. I get it, and it's not perfect, but it's pretty good. So I'll go to a sound. I think I even made one. I made this sound in this Synth One Audio Kit synthesizer, so it's called Digi Lead, and it's pretty cool. Sounds like a dance lead, right? You could also play polyphonic. Here we go. Hit this mono button. Now I'm playing chords. Filter it a bit. Go down and put it maybe back in mono and have bass lines. So I thought the patch that I made is pretty cool, because it can be a lead, it could be a bass, and I could just hit a button and then it's polyphonic. So, and it sounds good on every range. That's pretty neat. So there's that. So I could have this be any drum machine that's available in the App Store or any synthesizer that's available in the App Store. And I thought it's not a powerful iPad. It's an older one, and it's not a Pro or anything. It's just standard iPad from a few years ago because it's what I could afford, and it's awesome. So what I didn't see happening, I also got this app. It's called Beat Hawk by UVI. And I'll just load a beat. So this song is called MPC 2000 Type Beat. And I made this sitting in my chair in my living room. And then I brought it over here and tracked it into Studio One. But here's the project file. Sounds legit, right? Close that up. I'm still learning this app. This was the first app I thought, well, this is awesome. This is a good app. So you could load drum samples. You could load one-shot instruments, which then spreads it onto the keys, and you could play it like an instrument. Figured that out. That's cool. So that's a good beat-making app. One of the best things. There's this AUM mixer. So I was making stuff in Studio One, and yeah, I knew I could make it a drum machine or a synthesizer, but what if you want to make it more than one thing at once? AUM was my solution. I'm not sure if I 100% like it yet until I get some more cables, because I'm hoping not only did I want to have an instance of this, that, the other on their own channel, different apps or whatever, I wanted outputs of my sound card so I could track it like hardware. That was like something that's been in my head for so many years, and this is the fruition. So I will load this. This is a good instrument. This is called the monolith or monolith or something like that. We'll just pick a sound. So this is not only an audio mixer, it's also a MIDI thing. Oh, we have Houston, we're working. So there's a weird sound, whatever. It's just a good example that there's a sound. And then you would load another channel. And this would be something else, like this piano from Korg. Okay, so I could see that things are all on MIDI channel 1, so that I'm hearing both the synthesizer that I loaded and the Korg piano. Now, generally, you wouldn't do that. The point of this setup is you could do that multiple times, however many tracks and plugins I want. And what I would do is I'd have the MIDI out coming from my main computer going into the iPad, and I would sequence the stuff on Studio One as if it was a VST. And when you're in Studio One, you would be like MIDI channel 1. That would be your bass line. MIDI channel 2. That would be your piano. MIDI channel 3, and so on. And I wouldn't go too far with that, but it's cool to have like 4 things running off the iPad, sequencing it in Studio One with VSTs and plugins and everything. And when I want to, I track it out in the Studio One into audio, and I close this down as it's no longer needed. That's another workflow. I got stuff like Koala. Like I had that on my phone before, old iPhone and whatnot, and it was cool. But it's way cooler when you're hearing it come out speakers and headphones and just set up like professionally. So anyone that knows anything, Koala is a great sampler. You could load sounds, you could record sounds, you could pitch them on the keyboard, you could chop stuff, auto chop, time stretch, the whole nine. It's a really good sampler. I feel like I'm beating around the bush, but my favorite app, the one I'm gravitating towards, is this Roland Zen Beats. It's super awesome. I always wanted Roland stuff, and I've tried the Roland VSTs, and they're okay. I got excited, but they're honestly okay. And I didn't want to sign up to Roland Cloud. So, anywho, long story short, there's this Roland's Beats app, and it's awesome. So I've sequenced MSX Chompler. After you unlock it, you pay the whatever, $7 to $15. To unlock Roland Zen Beats, you can start loading plugins. So you get all the Roland sounds that it comes with, plus you can start loading plugins. So it's crazy. So I got that Chompler track, drums from a CR78. So you have these pads, you can play them on your screen. So if you want to play them live, you go boom, It's quickly switched to pattern mode, but they also have a step sequencer. Super cool. And so I have a sequenced beat and a sample flip. So let's hit play. So Rolling Beats is a whole freaking DAW type of program. This view is like clip launching, similar to Bitwig or Ableton. And honestly, I thought that was kind of what it was, but I also loaded a demo sound or a demo song today, and it has a full freaking linear sequencer like Cubase or Logic or anything else. I have a feeling this is going to be my go-to in terms of making beats on the iPad. You could get audio effects, so if I wanted to run out, I'm sure there's a way I could process audio from my DAW with the iPad and send it back in. This is like a bit crushing destructor thing. I haven't even used it yet. It's a free one. I gotta mention there's a lot of free apps out there. This is a cool journey, and like I've wanted to do something similar for a long time. I just wanted to explain the multitude of ways you could set this up. Yeah, it's a lot of fun, and I'm just getting started with this. I think there's a lot of potential here. It's definitely no joke, especially when you hook it up to a proper audio interface and get recording. It's the recording process. It's like actual audio. Thanks for checking out this video. Peace.